Yo, what's up, everybody? It's Chad.
It's Kris.
Alberto.
And you are now listening to Two Dads, One Chad. Thank you. Thank you.
And go.
As y'all know by now, we start off our show every week with our tap-in segment. And so this week we would like to tap in and see if we accomplished our goals last week, everybody. I can tell you right now, me, myself, I did no caulking this week at all.
He laid no caulk this
No
weekend.
caulk was laid this week. And unfortunately, that's going to probably have to be my goal this week again.
It's a good goal.
Yeah, no. Unfortunately, I didn't get anything done at my house, but I mean, I did have a really good time with my family this weekend. So
That's what it's all about.
That's a good thing.
that's what makes me not feel so guilty for not accomplishing my goal, for sure. So, actually, my real goal for this week, and it's a big one, and this is a long-term goal. I know recently we've only done like short-term
For sure.
goals, but this for me is going to be a big one, and that's me officially quitting the whole vaping life. So just gonna stick to natural shit for right now, but definitely
Talking about Vitapacks from GNC.
but definitely I got Austin try to hold me accountable last time, and I'll let my boy down, but this
So
time,
does that mean we get to smack it out of your hand if we see it? Or?
well, you won't see it, trust me. I'm not gonna have it on me, but if you do, yes, please smack it on my hand.
Or if I see it, can I take it and then I just keep it for myself?
Yeah, you can keep it for yourself.
Well, first of all, you need to quit
Because
that.
that's the thing. I actually bought one last week, and then I only had it for like maybe 2 puffs, and I was like, I gave it to my cousin. I was like, here, fuck it.
Yeah.
No, take it.
So Freud would say that you have a phallic tendency. Do y'all know what that means?
I've only heard of Freud one time, and that was on like Mr. Peabody and Sherman.
We'll let the audience out there figure out what that is, just to keep you guys tuned in.
So,
What do you know about Sigmund Freud?
No, that's a good goal though. Like, just because you fail, we set these goals to like just give us something to look forward to during the week, and then life happens, and it's not necessarily the easiest thing to do. So, I think the long-term goal is something that we should do, once a month or something. Set something a little out in the future, so that we're not feeling like failures every week, and that the audience out there. Just because you set a goal and you do not succeed in that goal does not make you a failure. You're a winner just setting a goal. To be honest with you, not everyone does that. So,
right on.
that's a great goal.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't want to feel that sense of failure, right? If they do set a goal, that's what stops most people from doing that. Is like, I don't want to, set myself up for disappointment. But I mean, that's how you learn. That's how you push yourself to actually get things done. So.
Alanis Morissette said it best. You live, you learn.
Live, laugh, love, man. Chad, you want to tap in?
So my goal last week was to be a better communicator, and I unequivocally, absolutely failed the shit out of that. Like,
Chad, your record for these goals are not very good.
oh yeah,
You're
I'm
0-2
pretty
in the
sure.
last-
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
last
yeah.
2
They're gonna
weeks,
be most goals.
The season just started, Chad. Come on, man. You're about to go into tank mode if you don't.
Yay.
Don't worry, he's a Cowboys fan. He'll win one and think he's gonna win the Super
real.
Bowl.
Or I'm gonna be like the fucking Texans and fucking.
Hey, leave them out of that.
And
They got enough shit going on.
They've been abused
I'm gonna
plenty.
lose every week. In that 1 week, I'm like, you know what? I just passed my goal.
So anyways,
So
communication not so
communication not so good. I mean, there was
Tinder
one
doesn't
part
count.
of the, nah. There was one part of the week where I just wasn't talking to anybody for it was like a day and a half or so, because I just was just in my bubble. So I didn't really bother nobody, and I didn't really want to be bothered. So I just kind of like.
Get out that bubble.
Yeah,
So I kind of just closed myself off a little bit, but it was temporary. So I came out of it. I feel fine. Like sometimes I feel like I gotta take myself away from my thoughts, so I can just like keep them where they at, so they won't just be like spilling out all over the place. So
Sometimes it's not how you start, it's how you finish. So resiliency, picking yourself back up after you failed.
Absolutely.
And finishing strong.
Yeah. So
Sports, we've played sports our entire life. We know exactly what that is about. So
we like sports.
we like sports.
Spots.
We're just a couple dudes saying stuff into a microphone and hoping people listen, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. So this week, as you know, I don't have kids.
What? That you
No,
know
well,
of.
I heard a rumor about you. I mean, I
Hey,
don't know who's
whoa!
up.
Don't give it all away now.
Yeah,
We got a
for
whole
real.
season ahead of us.
For real.
Cliffhanger.
I don't have any children, but I have many nieces and nephews. So I want to find some time for this current week to like spend more time with them. I mean, I usually do spend a good amount of time with at least my one nephew, because he's literally like 5 minutes away from me. So I see him pretty much like almost every day. But with the rest of my nieces and nephews, like I feel like my oldest niece went to college, and like pretty much like her like last few like years that she was growing up, I felt like we kind of didn't distance ourselves away from each other, but it's like she got older. She grew up. She grew up. So like she didn't really need like uncle like she had when she was younger. So I don't want to repeat that with these other kids coming up. I got another one that's like right. She's 16, so I still want to hold on to like that same uncle and niece or nephew relationship like I have with them right now, and I don't want it to be like
Oh, that is my uncle, but I don't talk to him as much.
yeah. Like, and but even though my niece like in college, like we talk all the time, like we like FaceTime each other. Well, not FaceTime. I get so stuck in saying FaceTime because I don't even have Apple, so I don't even, I don't even use. But like we video chat,
Right.
or it's like just a quick phone call, like, hey, what's up? What's going on? What you doing? But I want to do that more with the rest of my nieces and nephews, and just keep our bond.
Right. Create memories with your family.
Yeah, for sure.
If you need advice, I heard this story from a wise person I met named A-Ray about being there for his nieces and nephews. So there's someone. Shout out to A-Ray.
Oh yeah, for sure. And like I'm going to like sports events again. I'm going to like different little like programs and stuff like
So
that.
this is a long-term goal, right?
Right.
Yeah, I guess you could say this is a long. It's a short term that'll eventually turn into a long term.
You got to build on it.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
for sure.
Rome wasn't built overnight.
For real.
For sure.
It's building 4.
Forward.
They crazy.
Oh man.
So Chad, that's a great goal. Family is key, and family is what a lot of people do. Like that's just what they look forward to every day is family, right? So that's a great goal. Speaking of that, my goal last week was to build a. I'm trying to think of a good way to say this. Not a better relationship with my daughter, but get a better understanding of her temper tantrums and her meltdowns, and not letting my frustrations get the best of me, and really strengthen our relationship. I will say that I succeeded for the most part in that. Me and my daughter, we have a great relationship. There are just days where I've had it up to here with her, or not even her, just with life in general. Bad day at work, you're tired, you come home, and then your daughter goes to school, she's tired, you both come home, and it's just chaos. So for the most part, I succeeded in that. I will continue the long-term goal for this week's episode. And I think I need to be a better husband all around for my wife. And I know it sounds like we've touched on this quite a few times between me and Alberto with our wives. I feel like I have let her down in many ways. and I really want to be the husband that she knows I can be, and that I know I can be. So, it's a tough one. We both have our own interests. They're not always the same. I know I've said it a lot to her. Been together 12 years, so the sorries, I'll do better. It's time to actually do better. So that's my long-term goal. And once again, that's not something that's going to happen overnight. And we're not going to really touch on it next week because there's nothing I can say next week that's going to, this is a long-term goal. But I think everyone
12 years in.
Yeah. Well, 12 years in and we're still learning things about each other. We're still, it's crazy. It's something, marriage is...
It's compromise, man. Compromise. And it's, a lot of times, it's you just...
It's swallowing your pride sometimes. It's, I'm a very prideful person, so admitting I'm wrong is really tough for me. And building off that is really that change, because sometimes you say you're sorry, and I'm not saying I do it, but sometimes you say you're sorry, and it's really just to end the argument. And I'm gonna work away from all that kind of adversity in our relationship, and really try to be the husband that I know I can be, and that she knows I can be. So that's me tapping out.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
Oh, I love it.
So we set these goals, right? And then a lot of people, they can't accomplish their goals, or they have trouble with their goals because they have these mental challenges. And we all have these mental challenges. I have them, Kris, you have them, Alberto. We all have them. And how we go through life with these challenges and how we go about it. I've been on record on this podcast many times talking about my own mental challenges, or I have depression. I get highly depressed at times. I really go through it a lot, and I try my best. I fail sometimes. I don't do everything I'm supposed to do, but I'm a work in progress, and like I said, we're all a work in progress. So this week, I want to allow my brothers, Kris and Alberto, to talk about their own mental struggles and how they go through life, going day by day with the struggles that they have. And
sorry, y'all. I don't know. I just dropped the cup over here.
Yeah, I'm trying to be very transparent.
That's what that big ass boom was earlier.
Yeah, I try my. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I tried my best to get
Chad
to
did everything as professional as he could.
I tried to get to it as best as I could without messing up. But this whole time, I'm just sitting there watching murder. Okay. All right. Getting away from that.
That means Alberto goes first.
Yeah.
Alberto.
Yeah, I'll be glad to. For me, right, a lot of my goals are that I try to set for myself are things that are going to give me quick right away validation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's why I don't really like setting the long term goals, because I have self doubt. You know what I mean? I don't want to know if I don't want to commit myself to that type of disappointment type of thing. You know what I mean?
I totally feel that.
So for me, my biggest mental challenge in life is dealing with ADHD and stuff like that. Starting different tasks without necessarily finishing them all, putting too much on my plate before I can even get to my first serving type of thing. You know what I mean? So it's something that I've dealt with nearly my whole life. I remember being diagnosed as a child. I just remember going to doctor's office all the time and taking, different type of medications. So I want to say as early as maybe even 6. You know what I mean? I was diagnosed. And the way I was diagnosed, or the whole process of it, it's very tough, man. Honestly, because like I feel like, especially back then, because times have definitely changed. But especially back then, it was just the easiest route to go for teachers and parents. Oh, just give them some medicine, they'll calm down, type of shit.
Give them some Ritalin.
You know what I mean, so like that's the thing. Like growing up, like you never really knew if you really needed that medication or if it was just easier for the adults.
Yeah,
type of thing. You know what I mean? So I don't remember much from my childhood, especially when I was medicated like that. But one thing my aunt always told me is like anytime she visited me when I was living in Michigan and I was on medication, is that I just looked like a zombie. I was super thin. I mean, y'all know me now. Like I'm a chicken boy now, but back then apparently I was thin. I was zombie-like. Like I was very isolated. Like I didn't like to hang out with people necessarily, or just I just enjoy my alone time. And, a lot of that was the side effects from that sort of medication. So just growing up very lonely is something that you have to deal with when on that type of medication. It's tough, honestly, and that's why I love my aunt so much for it. Like she was one of the first people who was just like, hell no, like the pros to this don't outweigh the cons of having my child sedated, the child that I'm taking care of. Like so she was very one of the first adults who was like, fuck that, take him off that shit, I'll deal with the consequences afterwards. And so like, man, that's why I have immense love for her. She tried to fight one of my vice principals in elementary school. Yeah, I remember you. For that very reason. Like I remember being in the office, right, and we had like a parent teacher conference or whatever with my vice principal, because she spoke Spanish. So she was telling my vice principal was telling her like, well, you need to get him back on. And she was like, well, you don't need to tell me what to do with my child. Like she just kept on pushing, the meds on her. She was like, bitch, if you tell me one more time what I need to do with my child, like, I'm about to drag her ass out of this office. So, like, bro, damn, that shit was life. And this was in the 4th grade. I was in the 4th grade when this happened, dog. And I was like, man, hell yeah. It was like the coolest thing for a child at that time, right? So, that was really awesome. Obviously, with having children now, it's something that's constantly in my mind. Are my children going to deal with this? And how is it going to affect them in school? You know what I mean? And especially with their education. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know if it's something that you, Kris, necessarily, with your mental challenges, feel like as a dad, you have to worry about your children. But, I do for sure. Yeah. And I mean, the way I plan on dealing with it, I never really want to take that route again. I never really want to take that route again of medicine, but acknowledging that that's something that I have and that I have to deal with. Yeah. Can better prepare me for it. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm not saying like I'm totally like anti-medication, because I know what it does. It does necessarily help, especially adults. You know what I mean?
Especially nowadays, though, they have so many more researches and so much more like just medical background on the subject, so they can actually make and people now don't just give you drugs. Yeah. Oh yeah. Like you have to go through multiple steps, but it also involves they got the parents involved. Whereas back then, when you were 6 years old, the parents were, hey, this is my kid. Oh, he has ADHD. Here's some medicine. Yeah. And now it's like, they could have ADHD. Let's try these behavioral like therapies at home, and then we'll go from there and figure out what the best thing going forward is.
So Alberto, he had a tough time growing up with his mental challenges. And Kris, we'll move on to you and let you go into your mental challenges and what you've dealt with.
Yeah, absolutely. Growing up white, everyone thinks, all right, so it's funny, right?
I mean, it's funny because you said growing up white.
So it's funny, but you don't expect. I had a rough childhood.
I mean, yeah.
Growing up white, it's one of those things where people think that we just grow up and everything's okay.
Yeah.
I dealt with a lot of trauma growing up.
Mm-hmm.
It's stuff that has weighed in on me for a long time. I always had this feeling inside that the worst thing was going to happen whenever I was faced with a situation.
Mm-hmm.
I never knew what exactly that was. I thought that was pretty normal for people, like just to be able to, be faced with, oh, let's go ride our bikes around at night. And what's the worst thing that's going to happen? Well, my mind goes to
Sharknado.
Yeah, Duh. Sharknado. Lake Placid. But it even growing up on the beach, it even goes as far as diving into a wave and like imagining literally you're diving into a shark's mouth.
Sharknado.
So like my biggest mental challenge, I didn't realize it until about 6 years ago when I went to the doctor, is my anxiety. I do have really bad anxiety. I've learned to. We'll go over it a little bit, but I've learned to deal with it for the most part. But growing up, it was my brother was the daredevil, didn't care what anyone else did. I was the I don't want to do this because I'm afraid to get in trouble kind of guy. A lot of that is being the older sibling. I think I got a lot of in my trauma comes from getting spanked. It wasn't often, but it was enough to really put me over the edge and kind of scare me. And then a lot of other things is, mom and dad being alcoholics, passing out on drugs, going to school in clothes covered in cat pee. The anxiety is it's the worst possible outcome. So every time something happens, I think of the worst possible outcome because I grew up in one of the worst possible outcomes I could have. So for me, I thrived. I got through it. I had grandparents and family members and friends that helped me get through everything. And then going into my adult life, Alberto was very young when he got diagnosed with it. Yeah. It's something that, one of the things about the show is men's mental health. So me going to the doctor at 26 years old and going through anxiety and getting diagnosed with anxiety disorder, getting put on medicine. I did quit the medicine. I gained weight and I didn't like the way it felt. It made me feel. But yeah, I mean, my biggest mental challenge is anxiety. And I think that it's one of the more, just like ADHD, it's a very common mental challenge. And I think everyone out there can thrive from me and Alberto's stories and some of the things that, that we're going to talk about going forward. It's tough, man. Not for men, women, children, anyone out there. Mental challenges get you.
So, like Berto talked about, like he was like very young when he first experienced his mental challenges. So, do you think yours kind of started out like earlier on in life?
Because you say you were diagnosed at 26, but when did you actually notice? Oh shit! Like I can't necessarily deal with confrontation.
Yeah, so
as well as I want to.
Until recently, I've been going to this class with my wife after work. On Mondays, and it's really just kind of dealing with different ways to deal with your children and finding different ways to understand your children. These last 2 weeks have been kind of eye-opening for me. A lot of what we talked about was trauma and past experiences that kind of like cause these things to go forward. So my parents getting divorced at an early age, all they did was talk crap about each other. Mom passing out where I'm 8 years old having to cook my brother dinner because stepdad's at work, she's passed out, and like what else are we gonna do? So like stuff like that, and it's stuff that doesn't necessarily like we got through it, and like I've said before, like my brother was the I had to be strong for him, but he was actually strong for me because we counteracted each other's feelings. Whereas like I kind of cared about everything and he was kind of a
fuck it.
Yeah, exactly. Just, screw it. I'm just going to go do this. Like, what's the worst that can happen? My initial thing is, well, I'm going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
His is like, well, I'll just get a spanking. It's okay. I didn't want a spanking.
Yeah.
The life of a little brother must be.
Yeah, it's crazy. But no, back then, obviously I did not know anything about the disorder of anxiety, the challenges of it. So as I've gotten older, I've come to look at past experiences and really dive into the traumatic experiences that I've gone through. And one, I don't want to relive them because, they're horrible. And then two, it's just, I grew up with IBS too, kind of throwing that out there. So that a little bit of anxiety on that, just you got to know where the nearest bathroom is all the time. And that's stressful. You don't go certain places because, it's gross or it's a single seater. But growing up, me and my brother went on a flight. One of the biggest things that scares me is not being in control of a situation. So if there is an outcome that can happen, if I cannot control the outcome, I'm not a big fan of it. So we're in a plane. It's just me and him. We're chaperoned. We're flying to go visit our grandparents. And we drive through this thunderstorm. There's lightning. The plane's moving all around. And in my head, we're 36,000 feet in the air. And what can I do? Yeah. Like if we're going down, we're going down. So ever since then, like not being in control of a situation is something that definitely triggers my anxiety as well. Being the passenger in a car, not a big fan of. Work life doesn't necessarily give me anxiety. Maybe the confrontation gives me a little bit of anxiety because I think of the worst possible outcome. Yeah. Go talk to your GM about not doing their job. Well, what if they walk out? Well, then they walk out. Like, no, I don't want that to happen. Yeah. But that's also where I've learned empathy and like that worst possible outcome can be managed. As far as the feelings I get internally, they're not, just like with your depression we talked about. Yeah. It's not something that you can just turn off.
No, hell no. Definitely
not. To kind of recap and answer your question, it's not necessarily stuff that I knew when I was younger. It's stuff I'm learning as I get older, and it's making me think back and realizing the things that I went through. And it brings up some pretty emotional times. It brings up, it triggers the past but that is one way that I've been able to sort of get through life.
Berto, will slide back to you. So you talked about being young. So how about now we talk about like what it has like going from when you first like experienced this as a young man. Like how was life going on up until now?
Man, honestly, I didn't really think much when I was a kid, right? I just always remember around lunchtime going to the nurse's office, taking my meds, going. It wasn't until like I got in somebody else's point of view that I felt like I wasn't who I needed to be, right? Because the medication doesn't let you, like, literally just shuts you down. Yeah. It hyper focuses you on certain things. So like, it was very tough. So like now, I know I have that, right? But at the same time, having ADHD just comes with so many different, effects. Like, like I said, I love to start things, but not necessarily finish them. Yeah. I overthink things. Like Kris, I always think the worst possible thing, out of things. And especially dealing with something like that and not having like any sort of parental guidance with that issue, it's just made it even harder. Yeah. And so that's why, like I brought it up earlier, I have concerns, that my children are going to deal with this, and I need to let them know, like, hey, this isn't necessarily a bad thing. If anything, like, if you do it right and you take advantage of it, It can help you thrive in life, right? Because kids who deal with ADHD, they want to learn, they want to figure things out. You know what I mean? And so a lot of the time, it's very intelligent people, but they just have so much.
Got to find a way to slow it
A
down.
balance, yeah, like the perfect balance for it. And so I just want, and like I'm just afraid they're gonna deal with the things that I had to deal with, and that's constantly getting in trouble at school because I just finished my work early and now I'm bored and I need to talk to somebody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's very worrisome, but at the same time, like I think I got it. You know what I mean? I think my kids are gonna be good and they're gonna understand, like, if they are diagnosed or whatever, yeah, I can control this. I can be in charge here and make it a benefit, you know, of who I am. So it's tough. It's something that, you know, every morning I deal with, but
Yeah.
it's who I am. Like I can't hide it. You know what I mean? It's just who I am, and I'm not going to hide it. You know, I'm gonna work through it and every day just learn from it. Hopefully others can too. But with you, Chad, like, how about you? What would you say your biggest mental challenges?
I mean, like, I know, like I said, I've talked about being like depressed and things like that. I can't necessarily pinpoint exactly like when it happened, but I know it was like later on in life where I like really started to like feel it like a lot, like especially like as I got older, like when I'm like, especially okay. So number one, I can say when the depression really started to hit, like it was when I found out I was diabetic. This was in 2007, so I was 19. Like living, like going through like my whole pretty much childhood into becoming an adult, and then like going to the hospital one day because you're like just not feeling well, and telling them that, oh man, if you would have waited any longer, you probably could have died because I can laugh about it now.
Like damn.
Yeah, I can laugh about it now, but yeah, so normal blood sugar range is like 100 to 120. Like most people's are like under that. But me being a diabetic, like a good range is like 120 to 100. My blood sugar when I went to the hospital was 1,072.
What?
Yeah.
1,000?
1,072.
What the fuck were you eating, Chad?
Bruh. But this is just like,
that boy drank the fucking 12-pack of Coca-Cola straight.
Man, I honestly I couldn't tell you because, like I said, it was a build up for like years and years and years. But apparently, like that weekend, I was just like
partying
everything. And then what's funny because it was my oldest niece. I already talked about her earlier in the show. So it was her actual birthday party. We were at CC's at buffet, and everybody's chilling out. But I'm just like not there. Like I'm not feeling it. Yeah. I'm like drinking everything because I'm just like I got this like super. That's like one of the signs of having diabetes or like
high blood pressure.
No, just like a thirst, like that's okay. Let me go back. A big symptom of having like high blood sugar is like having like a thirst.
Dehydration.
Yeah, dehydration, like having like a thirst feeling. So I was like feeling that like all day. So I'm like drinking drinking everything like Gatorade, like water, juice. So like I'm like, damn, I just can't get rid of this feeling of like I feel like I just need to keep drinking and drinking and drinking. So, man, all I know is I'm just sitting there at the table. I'm like, I'm not eating nothing like this whole day. Like so, like everybody's like eating.
Well, yeah, you're at CC's, so
like, and that's what was like. That's what made me like. That's like funny. Like that's what made my mom look at me like, I don't think something ain't right with you because you ain't ate nothing since we've been here at CC's, and I know, like usually, like we come to CC's and you're like eating like all kinds of shit, and you're not. You haven't ate a thing since we've been here.
Eating them brownies.
No, like literally, I didn't touch nothing. So I was just going back and forth to the soda machine, like getting like and just drinking. That's all I was doing. So she was like, "Oh, something's not right with you.
You ain't right, boy."
Yeah. So we're just we'll go to the hospital. So went to the hospital, sitting in the waiting area or whatever. Then that's when I can remember like my nurse, he was a dude like that. Like there was dude nurses. I was like, what the fuck? Yeah, I was like, what?
Two dads and a caring mom.
I was like,
and a dude nurse.
I was like,
you had it all, Chad.
I was like, damn, bro. Like I thought he was the doctor when he came in, but now he was just like, you a nurse?
He just stuck his finger there for no reason.
And so he just told you straight up. Hey,
no, he was like, hey man, I don't know if anybody's ever told you this, but pretty sure you have like severe diabetes and your blood sugar level was like 1,072.
Should have looked him in the eye and been like, I'm gonna die a beat this.
Yeah.
And
wait, is this your mental challenge, or is diabetes your mental challenge?
No, well, it's not my mental challenge, but I'm just saying that's just where the depression started.
Oh, okay.
Because when I as I like felt myself like getting sicker and then like having to take these medicines that I never had to take before, then having to give myself insulin with the shots, like I never had to do that shit before.
Do they take they cut you off completely from sugar?
Yeah, you're supposed to, but I didn't necessarily do that right away until I got a few knocks on the head. Like,
because you have an insulin shot at work, don't you? Is it
that's epinephrine.
Oh, what is that for?
That's if I go into anaphylactic shock from an allergic reaction.
Okay.
Oh, EpiPen.
These big words.
Oh, my mama has EpiPen, so yeah. Oh, okay. So yeah, he's
that
like,
still didn't explain what is it for.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when
it's basically like Benadryl and steroids.
Yeah. So you hit the shot. It like
Pulp Fiction. You just put it on your fucking chest for real.
Yeah.
Straight like that.
Kind of so. Yeah.
For an EpiPen, you're supposed to do it in your thigh.
Okay.
But yeah.
Back to the diabetes.
Yeah.
Back to the diabetes.
Jesus. So that's around. That's when I can pinpoint like being super depressed, like fucking sitting in my room under the covers, like fucking like not doing nothing for days.
Chad, you had diabetes. They didn't tell you.
No, but I'm just saying, getting sick and then like having to like do all this shit like that I never had to do before. I mean, I had a few times where I had to go like in and out of the hospital for like having like not doing the right things. Blood sugar kept going up to like high levels. Like it never ever got back up to like 1,000. But I had like a couple where they were like be like
600.
Yeah, I think one of them was about one of them was 600. It's because I couldn't manage it yet. I was still new to it. So like, and this was like, so.
Well, it's like quitting cold turkey. It's like smokers when they're like, oh, I got to stop smoking. Like, you know how hard that is just to stop? Like, it's not necessarily, but like sugar is an addiction.
Yeah. And I feel like that it was at that, like, cause I mean, even though I did like diet stuff, like, but if it wasn't like actual sugar.
So that's when you first actually had.
Oh yeah. Like, man, having to be admitted to the hospital and then you're like in the hospital for like days because just for them trying to bring your like blood sugar down to like regular normal like levels.
Since you're vulnerable, did they have to put a catheter in your pee-pee?
Almost like the nurse, a nurse threatened. No. This is another funny story. So, like they put me in ICU because my blood sugar was that.
There's nothing funny about that.
No, but listen, I'm trying to tell the story. Listen to it. Okay, so
listen, Linda.
So like they weren't giving me any liquids. Like they like we gotta let this shit just come out. Like
literally.
So I couldn't get any liquids. The only thing they was giving me was ice to like chew on and like that. That's it. I couldn't get water. I couldn't get anything to drink. None of that. So the nurse was like, well, you hadn't gone to the restroom since you've been here. You've been here like almost like a day or so. You haven't gone to the restroom not one time. Like, I feel like if you don't go to the restroom soon, we're going to have to put the catheter in you and just let it just go.
Chad's like,
man, I heard this shit. I was like, I got one right here. Hold on. So yeah, let me go ahead and get that urinal so I can go in, and that shit woke it up. Like I was like, okay, now we're moving somewhere. So
do you think that your depression started with that and it's ended with that, or do you?
Oh
like,
no,
not ended obviously. Like
oh hell no, that was
He's still sad. He's sad.
I understand that, but is it like that's what did it, and then you're living?
nah,
off
that
that
was just
or are
like
there
one
other?
of the. Oh yeah, there's
other
like
events in life?
all kinds of like.
Do you ever feel?
Like a plastic bag.
No, I have a serious question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you ever feel like you use depression as a crutch
Do I feel like I use it as a crutch? Nah, because
to get out of
Don't
things
lie,
or
Chad,
to-
because I'll tell you right now, I'll be honest. Sometimes I use my shit.
no, I never really use it as a crutch because I still can like function through it. Like even if I am having a bad day, like I'm not gonna like let it like stop me from like.
Yeah, it doesn't affect you. It just affects everyone around
Yeah,
you because you're being a
Cam.
dick.
Cap.
I am not like usually if I'm.
He comes in now.
But I keep
Chad. Nothing.
but I keep to myself at that time, which okay
what to yourself?
is I keep to myself,
Keep to yourself. Okay.
which is maybe it's not like me because like I said, I joke around, I have fun all the time. So yeah, if I am having one of those days, I kind of like keep to myself just to like I don't,
Right.
and I think that probably in a way it kind of draws more attention to me because I am like being distant from everybody, just trying to.
So how do you deal with it? Do you take medication for it? You say you go to therapy, right?
Oh yeah, I'm in there every 2 weeks, like spilling my guts out, talking. Shout out to Doc.
Wait, do you still have like a constipation problem? Or you talking about your feelings. I got you. My bad.
You know what? I'm gonna just let that one roll. I talk to my doctor every 2 weeks. Just trying to get things to where I can continue to be functional at the same time, still trying to heal. So,
I mean, all these things we've talked about have been super tough. It's nothing easy. None of us are dealing with anything easy.
bruh, it's definitely not easy. And with that being said, do you guys have any tips on things that you guys have?
Yeah, I got one for sure.
Wow.
No, tips. I mean, when it comes to any hill you have to climb, it's just you just got to be real with yourself, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to tell yourself, like you have these issues,
Mm-hmm.
and like Kris said, his biggest challenge is confrontation
Mm-hmm.
and dealing with that. And in life, you are gonna have that, and you just have to take care of business, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Figure out a way. Like what we do here is the perfect way that we can deal with our emotions and the things that the issues that we have.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
We're not telling y'all to go out there and start a podcast or anything. It's just more of like find somebody that you can talk to and you can listen to.
Find your Katy Perry.
Yeah,
Or
for sure.
Find your own outlet. Like it might not be podcasting, maybe something else that you
painting,
need to
running, biking,
I just kept running.
starting.
No, for me, I think when I got diagnosed with anxiety disorder, I was taking the medicine. I felt a little weird afterwards, and then after a little while, I just cut it out and told myself, "Hey, man, like this is your life. You can take this medicine and not feel like yourself, or you can not take it, and you can go through life and just understand like this is your life. Make the best out of it." And I mean, it's not easy every day. I mean, I still think about, I hate flying, still can't stand it. And it's not the fear of heights. It's the fear of falling and not being in control.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say being too fly.
Hey, I will say having your kids and your wife on the same plane, like having to deal with it takes away so much anxiety because you're not paying attention to the flight. You're paying attention to what everyone else is doing.
I thought you were gonna say like if we crashed, we would all die together, and that would ease your mind. I was like, yeah.
No.
God damn.
I'll be like Rose. Yo, there ain't no room on this door.
Yeah, sorry.
No, I'm just kidding.
There's only one parachute.
But no, I think just living life. I used to be. I talked about this before. An introvert, and I really shy. Never really came out and did anything. And screw it. Who are you trying to make happy? Be true to yourself.
Yeah, be true to yourself. And at the end of the day, that's what Chilln Chat is. Being true to yourself.
So being true to yourself is really important to all of us. It should be important to everyone out there. I think with the mental challenges everyone faces every day, being true to yourself is going to be a big catalyst in helping you get through these challenges and moving on to the next step of your life and really being happy. We talked about our goals this week. We talked about long-term goals instead of short-term goals, which I think are also as important.
Yep.
We got our boy Alberto.
Hey.
Although he's still planning on laying some caulk down in his house. Caulk. He's gonna quit vaping.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough.
And for all you millennials out there, I know you know how tough it is. No, I mean it's an addiction. It really is. It's an addiction, like cigarettes, like alcohol, like any kind of other drug. It's hard. Biting your fingernails. It's extremely hard, and you have our support on the Chilln with Chad podcast. This other dad is not going to let you fail. So we got that going for us. We got, our main guy, Chadwick. We're gonna
try to start a winning streak for Chad.
We went with the long-term goal.
And this
You know what? We're gonna say his goal for the week is him having a good night's rest tonight. If he does that, shit, he won.
There you go.
That's gonna go. I gotta be up early to
Fuck shit up at work.
So we got his long-term goal as being closer to his nieces and nephews and not losing that relationship. Chad does not have kids himself, so
and I mean
we're gonna work through this, and Chad's gonna do everything in his power to really stay a part of his family's life.
Yeah. Big shout out to all the Theos out there.
Yeah.
Love you.
Amen. It's a big goal. It's a doable goal for sure.
Oh yeah.
I believe you can do it. I believe family is one of the most important things in life. And by saying that, it's called Chilln with Chad, 2 Dads, 1 Chad. So with family being important, we have the 2 dad portion of it where I want to bring it in real quick and really express that Alberto quitting vaping is not only good for himself, but it's going to be good for his family. It's going to save money. His kids aren't going to see him do it.
Yeah.
He's going to save a lot of time, be more productive. It's a crutch a lot of times when people vape or smoke or drink alcohol, and for you to come out and say that is really big. And I think, as the dad portion of this, it's going to help your guys' family grow closer. My long-term goal is, I just want to be a better husband for my wife. And by being a better husband for my wife, it's also going to make me a better dad for my kids. So, back to the dad portion of this, I want to start bringing this back in the recaps as well, is really tying everything into the 2 dads, 1 Chad that we originally set out to do.
Right.
And I really enjoyed all of our goals, and I think they're 100% attainable. They're not easy, but they are attainable. So we have a good support system, and we're going to continue to surround ourselves with positivity and make sure that anything that negatively impacts our life, we get rid of as fast as possible and go from there.
Yeah. Shout out to everybody who has been, sending in your goals for the week. We love it.
Yeah.
We support you.
Yep.
We want you to walk your dogs. We want you to outshoot your cops. We want you to get those 40 hours. So we love it. Continue it. It's great content for us. It's
fun.
It helps us actually feel like we're doing something with y'all.
Community engagement.
Yeah, for sure.
But talking about our goals and then transitioning into those mental challenges is, it's tough. Chad opened up a little bit with us about, when he first, discovered that he had depression, and it was, the diabetes and near-death experience.
And just dealing with that in general, because he said that the pills and dealing with all this just throws him off.
Yeah, it feels. I can only imagine. I've never, I've never dealt with anything like that. Alberto's never dealt with anything like that. It's crazy just going through that whole entire notion of, am I going to wake up if I go to sleep?
Well, that's what sucks about the medication that we do take for our challenges. That there's always some weird side effects that doesn't let us be who we are. So shout out to all of us for taking it on the chin and dealing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then Alberto with his the ADHD and being off of the medicine, and his Tia really advocating for him to not take it and grow as a person. And I'm sure it wasn't easy. I know it wasn't easy. There's probably a lot of challenges that we didn't go over that Alberto went into. And
it got to where they were diluting my soda with half a cup of water, because it was the stigma of like, oh, if you have any sugar, he's gonna go off the rails. And I'm like, nah, y'all, it's just
all you're doing is ruining my soda.
Yeah, I'm a fucking kid. Yeah, I'm gonna go off of any fucking kid.
If I don't like soda, I'm gonna start doing crack or something. I swear to God. No, and then me with my anxiety. I think it's a very common challenge, and I have figured out a way to. I haven't mastered it by any means, but I've definitely figured out a way to live my life. I just take it day by day. There's not much more you can really do about it. I can't plan the next week. I can't plan the next month, but I can make sure that each day is as good as I can make it. I stopped taking the medicine for it. I got a great support system in my wife. I wish I had family closer, but I do have good friends, especially work friends. 2 dads, 1 Chad.
Hey,
love you guys. A-Ray TV, shout out for always being there when I need you. And but yeah, it's just a crazy ride with all these mental challenges, and we call them challenges on our episode because in my professional life, I think of challenges as opportunities, and I think as opportunities as something that you can change and get better at. So I don't want to call these disorders, diseases, or anything like that, because I feel like it can trap someone into the stigma of what a disease or a disorder is. So I really think calling them challenges really brings out the opportunity to be better at them and really kind of figure out who we are as people and grow from that.
Yeah, it's coping with them. It's not resolving them. It's not getting them cured. It's coping with them and living with them. And like I said, I use there's certain pros to being ADHD, you know what I mean? And I take that and I take advantage of those, but you just got to cope with what you deal with it day in, day out.
Absolutely. And so, all the men and women out there, we're just, once again, reach out if you need anything. We're here. Mental health is extremely important. We've made that very clear on this show, and we will continue to make it very clear on this show. Mm-hmm. And that is what I got for the recap.
I'm good. If y'all are good, I'm good. And we are out.
Yeah, hey. Encore.
Thank you. Duval.